stuff. It's very impressive.
Oh my gosh. So we are starting live here, but we'll wait for about 10 more seconds. All impressive. You're funny. All right, here we go.
Yay!
This live Q&A is brought to us by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, discounted prices, miniaturemarket.com. And with that, I bring you the one, the only, Suzanne Sheldon.
Yay! And I bring you the one, the only, Dan King.
Thank you. We are here in Bellevue, Washington, just outside of Seattle. We are at the Mox Boarding House, which is, well, I'll let her describe it because she basically lives here.
Everybody needs a third place, right? You have home, work, and your third place. And this is my third place. Mox Boarding House is a friendly local game store and game cafe in Bellevue, Washington. And I like to call it the gold standard. I've been to a reasonable number of game stores, certainly not a huge swath, but everybody I know, like publishers and designers that have been to a lot of game stores, agree that Mox Boarding House is special. They've got like 12,000 square feet of space between the cafe. They have like a tournament room that holds 150 people. They have miniature gaming tables, and then they just have a huge selection of board games. They have an incredibly friendly and knowledgeable staff. And the cafe that we're sitting in right now has amazing food and beer and wine, and they make everything from scratch. The French fries are phenomenal. I certainly will be eating a lot of them tonight.
This place is amazing. I've been to
What do you think of it? Yeah.
I've been to a couple of sort of game cafes. This is by far the nicest one. It's huge. When you walk in, I started shaking because I was so excited because the store itself is so big. Not just like square footage wise, but height wise. Like they have ladders going up to like the ceiling with games from floor to ceiling all over the place. I took some video with just my phone because I didn't have my camera with me, but I'm hoping to put together a video for you guys to show you what it's like. But yeah, it's 400 games in the library that you can just, check out for free and sit at a table, eat some food, play stuff, the miniatures, the tournament. We're in like one of the special rooms here, so it's a little bit quieter for the Q&A. By the way, it's a Q&A with Suzanne. So if you have any questions for either myself or her, just put them in the comment section in the YouTube thing, and then we'll check there and see how it's going. So yeah, the other cool thing is, let's see, they have this one room that Suzanne showed me, I got a little excited about, is it had like there's a big door full of books, and it was like a secret entrance where you push the doors, and inside is like its own room with a bar and a couple of tables. It was just like, it blew me away. I almost fell over.
Yeah, it's the speakeasy. It's literally a little throwback to the speakeasy days. And I love that secret entrance, and it's just I've been lucky enough to have like private events in there, and I've gone to a couple, and it's just a really cool space to hang out and game in and have a beverage, and every detail here is so thoughtful. And it used to be a garage. Like they converted an old mechanics garage into this space, and that's why it's so like expansive and huge and really, really awesome.
I gotta say, if they, in a lot of those cities, they have commercial on the bottom floor and residential on the top floor. They need to build like a top floor and make a bunch of apartments out of it, and they could like, how much rent I would spend?
All the gamers
up
that
there,
would
just live upstairs. Yeah. What are you doing? Going downstairs.
Yeah, well, I mean, they have a game library of like 500 games that you can just borrow. Like basically you go in and you're like, hi, I want to play that game. They hand it to you. They ask you if you need help learning it because they can teach it to you. And then you go get a table and you sit for as long as you want and play games. There's no table fee, no fee to borrow games. There's no membership or anything like that. It's just a very inclusive, welcoming environment. And they want to encourage gamers and gaming. And so everything here is set up to do that.
And I said, if you guys are going to move somewhere, can you move to Phoenix? Because we don't have anything like this. And they're like, well, we're thinking about expanding. Hey, let's get the talks going now. I will champion that store.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know Ignacy Trevicek from Portal Games was here recently. I think he was quite fond of it. Mike Fitzgerald, the designer of Diamonds and Wyatt Earp and games like that, has visited here and fell in love with it as well. It's kind of the place to go. So certainly, if you're ever up in the Seattle, Washington area, Mox Boarding House is definitely the place to come and visit.
I just want to move in.
Yeah, I would too. And we've done like for Extra Life, the gaming marathon.
You do it here?
Yeah, Mox is kind enough to host that here for us. So I've literally been in here for like 24 hours straight, and it never got old. It was awesome the whole time.
Someone's trying to tell us. It's the speakeasy room. So we got a question here. Is this the only board game cafe in the Bellevue, Washington, Seattle area?
No, and as a matter of fact, I think we're kind of lucky, blessed, special. Seattle has an enormous board gaming community, and within where I am sitting right now, in a game store, there are at least 3 more within 15 minutes drive, and there's probably another 5 or 6 within another 30 minutes of that. And so it's a huge gaming community up here, and the retail pops up to show that. Keep in mind, we have a lot of gaming in Seattle as business too. Like Wizards of the Coast is headquartered here, so I think that kind of contributes to it as
well. You have so many cafes because you can't be outside all day long like we can in Phoenix because it rains too much here.
That's 100% true. It's raining all the time here,
except today.
But we have much better coffee than you do in Phoenix because.
There's Starbucks in a lot of places too.
Yeah, thank God. Otherwise, and I mean, yeah. Anyway, but yeah, so we're really lucky up here. I feel awful for all the gamers out there that don't have something like this near them. Yeah. And I try to always remember how lucky I am.
I wish they'd have this everywhere. They should franchise this. Franchise it.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's a business idea right
Someone
there.
says, hey Dan, have you been to Seattle area before? Actually, I've been here a handful of times. Before I was doing game reviews, I was still an engineer full time, but I was in a band as a saxophone player that won a national song contest that put us in Spin magazine that then put us on tour. We did a lot of all the colleges. Basically, we played all their big, like beginning week, homecoming weeks. We did big stuff in stadiums for colleges. And so I traveled quite a lot on the West Coast playing my saxophone. We came to Seattle a lot because the people here loved us.
Yeah, well, music is another huge thing in this area, right?
Yeah. It was like a Black Eyed Peas meets Dave Matthews Band. It was hip hop with funk, jazz, and blues. So it was a lot of fun. So we were here a lot. I love Seattle. My parents, for their first time is here. They're with me. They came with me here. And then the second part of this question is how long are you here for? I got here this morning and I leave tomorrow morning. So this is about it. The Mox Boarding House with Suzanne is all I'm able to do while I'm here.
Well, you picked the right thing to do. So
I'm leaving tomorrow on a cruise. I'm turning 40, believe it or not. Ugh, I'm so old.
I'm older than you, but we won't go there. Oh yeah, I'm older than you.
I didn't know that. So yeah, I'm turning 40, so I'm going on a cruise to Alaska. It leaves out of Seattle. I took the cruise once before in 2010 when I first got married. And I loved it so much I wanted to do it again, and this time bringing my parents. And they're her parents, because neither of them have been.
That's awesome.
So we were coming to Seattle so we came a day early, literally so I could come here and hang out with you and be at this place.
You had your priorities correct.
Yeah. So been here a few times and just staying here a little bit. Let's see.
You're welcome, James. James says thanks for the GenCon awesomeness. I hope you enjoyed it.
So someone's thanking you for GenCon. So for those of them that have lived under a rock and don't know what GenCon is, can you give us a little elevator pitch as to what it is?
Well, there's no rock. I mean, it's a thing, but it's a relatively small thing. So, obviously most of us know about GenCon, which is, the country's largest gaming convention where there's a lot of new releases. And in the social media world, sometimes it can get a little overwhelming or sad when you hear reviewers and people and they're showing off all these great pictures and they're talking about things like that. And a few of us on Twitter a couple of years ago realized that we could do something about that. And so we created GenCant, which is a virtual convention or an unconvention for everyone who cannot attend GenCon. And we play little virtual online games together, and we share pictures of our GenCant experiences, which will be like us vacuuming or the line for coffee is just like your coffee pot, and thankfully publishers really understand the angst involved in not attending GenCon, and so publishers have also been kind enough to donate hundreds of prizes. And so GenCant also has a huge raffle and photo contest where we give away some really amazing games and accessories.
That's a ton of prizes. Oh my gosh.
It's phenomenal. People are just so generous. And
you run this whole thing.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and it's really special. It's really fun. And our community is so amazing. It's a really fun thing to do. So James, I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, and because of your GenCant thing, I purposely timed my Kickstarter fulfillment to hit the week of GenCan because I knew I was going to be at GenCon, and I wanted the people at GenCan to feel like they got one up on the people that went to GenCon.
Exactly.
And they got my stuff as everybody else was at GenCon.
I loved it. Thank you. That was really, really cool.
Yeah. So that's the GenCan thing. Let's see.
There's so much tabbing going on behind the scenes, people. You have no idea. The tabs are just flying. I can't even. What the heck?
So someone asked what I'm doing in Seattle. You're going to have to watch this. I just explained that a moment ago. Are you going on BGG at Sea? No, I think that goes out of the East Coast, doesn't it? Have you been to BGG at Sea?
I haven't. Well, they've only done one before, right?
I think just, one.
I think they've only done one. No, I haven't. It sounds amazing, but it's actually, there's a lot of conventions now as the hobby grows, right? There's so many more conventions that you have to pick from. I think our cruise sounds amazing because, I could go with my family. My husband doesn't game, and so, he might have something else to do there while I did that.
Well, then you know what you need to go to?
What?
The Rocky Mountain Gaming Vacation, the one I just went to with my wife.
That sounds amazing. That sounds
Because you guys,
phenomenal.
you live in Seattle. You must be outdoors, folks.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll go with that.
You like dog trees?
Yes.
There's lots of trees in Colorado, too.
There you go. No, that looks amazing. I've seen the pictures of the people who got to attend. Alex from the Dukes of Dice shared his stories with me. He said it's phenomenal, and I would.
Did he tell you I saved his life?
I heard a story. It's interesting how the perspective of the teller influences how that story actualizes.
Hey, he was going down the Arkansas River, and I pulled him back in. We didn't say that he jumped out on his own, though.
I believe you 100%. That is exactly what happened.
Someone asked, since you run GenCan, does that mean you will not be joining any GenCons in the future? Or will you pass the baton to someone else and actually go to a GenCon? That's what they want to know.
Well, that's a good question. I wouldn't say it precludes me from going from GenCon. Would I ever hand off the baton? I will say this. I don't know if people realize the community is really gracious and many people appreciate how much work goes into it, but it takes a lot of work to go to GenCan. I don't know if I could hand it off because I don't know if everybody else is willing to ignore the real job and the real family as intensely as I do to operate it. So I don't know if it precludes me, but even if I did ever end up going to GenCon, I would go to GenCon in the GenCan spirit. So if I were to go to GenCon, a lot of my activities would be around providing content, sharing information, doing things for GenCan if I were to ever go. But to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of big crowds and things like that, and that seems what GenCon's a lot about. I'm a patient person. I don't mind waiting for the GenCon releases.
Yeah, I thought you liked the hotness. No?
Oh, I love the new hotness.
Okay.
But I'll still be relatively new in a couple months, right? So,
I guess so.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you did go, is most of your time for GenCan spent before GenCan, or is there still that week as it's going on is as big as any other week for you? Like content-wise and all this stuff.
Yeah, it's really busy because a lot of things come in last minute. It's such a busy time for publishers and things like that I get a lot of last minute requests and a lot of last minute donations and things like that come in. Certainly, I need to be better about marketing and sharing, and as the event grows, there's more community demand and things like that. So it's a pretty busy week, but that's okay. It's so much fun.
Cool. Well, another question is, have you played anything today? And the answer to that is yes, we have. What did we just play?
Lotus.
We did just play Lotus.
From Renegade Games.
It's a 2 to 4 player, light, family level card game that has a little bit more going on than maybe meets the eye at first.
Yeah, I wanted the game no matter what because it is gorgeous and I love the unique card pedal thing, and I was going to get the game no matter what. And to be honest, I kind of went into it just thinking it was going to be a fluffy thing that was going to be pretty on the table. And then I got to play it, and I was so impressed with the gameplay. It's definitely light, it's definitely family weight, but it has a real game there. And I'm not just saying this because you just kicked my butt, but there's actually
really
gameplay in there that's engaging and fun and thoughtful. And so Lotus is a definite winner for me. I'm really happy with that one.
Cool. All right, I have a question for you actually.
Oh dear.
Which types of content do you enjoy creating more, the app side of thing or the Kickstarter side of things? Because those are kind of like the two major things.
You're asking me to choose between my children?
Yes.
Oh my goodness, that's
I
terrible.
am.
You're
Don't
a
worry,
terrible
they're
person.
both out of the room.
Oh, yes. Okay. Don't tell. So don't tell Kickstarter, but I vastly prefer doing the app segments.
Why?
Well, Kickstarter is an interesting world, and I try to balance this, but it's easy to get cynical about it. And to be fair, I at least look at every project in the board gaming category, in the tabletop category, and there's a lot of bad ones. And I think that kind of gets annoying after a while. Whereas board game apps are usually just pretty fun. I get to play a game, I get to form an opinion, and they're easier to produce. They take less time for me to make. So yeah, that's that. But I love doing the Kickstarter thing. I try to share the gems that I find, even if they're not ones I would personally want to play, but I see the value in them or whatever, and I try to help bring those to awareness so that other people don't have to look at every project the way I try to.
Well, you do an amazing job on both those segments. I don't play a lot of apps, but I have a lot of apps. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah.
Today on the ride over here from Portland, it's a 2.5-hour drive that we did this morning, and took my iPad out and I brought out my baseball highlights 2045, did head-to-head, and I was passing it back and forth against my dad. That was kind of fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
I was playing. I kicked this butt, poor guy.
I'm sure as your father, he's proud of you for that.
Yeah, well, he's a baseball nerd, so he loves that game.
Oh, that's awesome. So, you've been doing content for a while, and I've seen your interviews and live QAs and stuff like that. But what's a question that you wish people would ask that they don't ask? A lot of interviews tend to kind of circle around the same topics and things like that. Like what's your favorite game? How'd you get in the hobby? Who would you like to work with? I hear those questions a lot, and they're always interesting to hear the answers to. But come on, what's that burning thing you wish? You're like, oh, I wish they'd ask me that, and they never do.
I wish they'd ask me, why do you do what you do?
Why do you do what you do, Dan?
I feel like you set me up here. We actually had somewhat of this conversation a little bit earlier, just as we were just talking and catching up on stuff. I don't know if you guys have seen my the intro to my videos. When I do the intro and then I do this, there's an animated video. It has these King of Tokyo dice rolling out, and that's been there since day one. I actually had that there even from my first video. I thought really hard on what do I want to do, why am I doing this, put together some branding, and I had that video there. And when the dice roll, it's the King of Tokyo thing. And it says, helping people find the next game they love by attacking reviews with high energy. And attack comes the claw, and high energy comes the King of Tokyo energy.
I've seen it many times.
Yellow liked it.
I always wondered, I was like, when I first saw you years ago, I was like, oh, that dude's going to get in so much trouble for using those dice.
It's so funny because obviously they like it, and I talked to them about it. They're like, oh yeah, we love that. And then 2 years later, they're like, we still love it, but can you put this copyright thing on the bottom? Absolutely. Absolutely. So they love it because, they're watching people that.
Sure, yeah.
But the thing there is the first 2 words of that statement is sort of my mission statement, helping people find the next game they love. And the first 2 words is really it is helping people. Because it's just something that's been a passion of my life is I like to take things that I know about and help other people either learn it or help them with it. And so helping people is really it. And now it's not just helping people find the game that they love, the next game they'll love. It's helping people find and enjoy. I've got to update my mission statement in my videos. Because now I'm doing these things called rule schools, which teach people how to play games, set up and play games. So now it can help you find the game, but it can also help you learn the game and enjoy it better and more smoothly. So I guess that's it. The biggest thing that I've never been asked is, why do you do it? And it's because I want to help people find the next game they love. Because I said this at lunch today to my parents. I said, everybody is a gamer. They just don't know it yet. Because most of the time, I honestly play probably more games with people that don't play games than with people that do play games. And that might sound weird, but I carry games in my backpack everywhere. We play games in the laundromat. We play games everywhere we go. And most of the time I'm playing people that don't play. And everyone, and you've probably seen this, you play with someone and all they've seen is Clue and Risk and Monopoly, and you play something simple even like a Lotus, and they go, wow, this is really cool. Let's play, last night I played Red 7 with somebody who doesn't play games, and they're like, whoa, and just everyone just locks onto it. So I always think everyone's a gamer, they just don't know it yet.
You just have to find the right game.
So it's just helping people evangelize this great hobby and helping people find the next game they love, so that's it.
Yeah, well, I've known you for a couple of years now, and that's quite fitting, I think. Just like you like to help me lose at what a pal.
One of the questions was, okay, GenCon's over, and so what were your favorite releases at GenCon? that have come out in or around GenCon. So would you like to go first? Any games that you've played that have come out? I know you weren't at GenCon, but have you played any that were released right around GenCon-ish?
Well, there's 3 games pop to mind, and it's just because I've only gotten to play so many games. So the first one is, can I do more than one? Is that okay?
You can do as many as you want.
The rules. I don't know. I'm gonna break
There's no rules.
There's no rules in Mox. Islebound from Red Ribbon Games. I don't know if that was a Gen Con release officially.
It was. I think so. I think it was, because it was even very limited supply there, I think.
Oh my gosh, I got to play it, and I love this game. It flows so well. It's quick to learn, but you can tell like there's multiple paths to victory. It's super engaging. It's beautiful, of course, because that's all Ryan Lockett does.
That's all he knows.
Things. Yeah, he doesn't know how to make an ugly game. But it was super fun. Like I never felt like I was, like I was like you see dice, but like I never felt like there's a lot of mitigation and things like that for that. It was just a great gaming experience. So that was definitely one of my favorite ones.
Can you compare it to any of the other games he's come out with from? Because I heard you could kind of play this with some of the above and below stuff. Is that right?
Well, so there are characters that you can hire to be crew on your ship, and on the reverse side of them, they have the iconography and look for above and below. So you can literally take those from over and then use them in above and below, and they have the iconography. So exactly on the camera right now, those are the Islebound. The waves are for speed and things like that. But so that's really a cool little crossover and smart marketing thing on Ryan's part. But Islebound is really fun.
If I wasn't in love with
Above and Below.
No, the one before that.
City of Iron.
Yes.
Edition.
If I didn't really like that, will I like this?
Yes.
Okay, so it's different enough.
Oh yeah,
okay.
And I think the rule, yes, very different. Ryan's games tend to all ultimately be broken down into like resource management, collection management, and this one is too. But I think the mechanisms are streamlined compared to City of Iron.
Is it super tight? I don't like super tight euros, which is one of the reasons why I didn't like City of Iron as much.
The money is a scarce resource, but it's not super tight, and there are very much multiple paths to victory. You can take different strategies and win the game.
I love always his artwork, and I want to love his games, but they haven't been totally up my alley yet. But I'd love to try this.
And now, and for people who loved Above and Below, which I loved, this is not Near and Far would be the sequel game. Islebound is not a sequel; it's a sister game in that it's in that universe. But there's no storytelling. There's these event cards that have thematic text on them, but whereas Above and Below had these stories that you're filling, there's none of that in this game. So I just want to make that clear. If that was something you loved about Above and Below, it doesn't exist here. And if it's something you hated about Above and Below, it doesn't exist in here. So keep that.
All right, we'll ping pong this.
What about you?
I've got so unfortunately, I did a top 10 type of Gen Con anticipated list, and the ones that I had played and reviewed before Gen Con, I liked a lot of those. And the biggest ones I was most anticipating at Gen Con, unfortunately, were big disappointments for me. But one of the ones that came out of Gen Con that I hadn't played before Gen Con, that I have reviewed since from Renegade Game Studios, is called Covert. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, I love this game. This is like a spy game.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to
Let me bring it up on the screen here for all you folks so you can check out what I'm looking at. There we go. So Covert is a spy game. It's a sort of a medium weight Euro strategy game where you are going around and getting equipment and going to locations and trying to do secret missions. It has a worker placement as a dice, sort of a dice style worker placement. But the interesting thing is when you're placing dice, you can only place them adjacent to a die with a value 1 higher or lower. Mm-hmm. And there you do different actions. You're breaking codes. You can manipulate different codes. You're trying to break codes to get more stuff. You're doing all this stuff on the board, moving around to get different items, being in certain areas. Sometimes for missions you have to be in a certain city. Some of them you just have to be in just a different area. Some of them you'll need some certain gear, like a phone that opens up and there's something in it, or a lockpick or whatever. So you're just trying to do these, and it's so tense because it's one of those things where you're like, I gotta do this, and there's so many multiple paths to get your missions done.
Cool.
It's a brain burner, but it's awesome.
That sounds awesome.
Covert.
I can't wait to try it.
It's one of my favorite games of the year right now. I like it that much.
All right.
It's done by Kane Klemko, who did Fuse.
Yeah.
He's done. Let's see what else he's done. He did. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah. I'm totally freezing on that one too.
All right, so what's another one?
Well, God, I remember a fourth one now, but I'm gonna stick with right now the Grifters from Indie Boards and Cards. This is one, it's a really cool looking game. The art on it's phenomenal. It's set in the same universe as kind of that dystopian future as the Resistance, but the art style is a little bit different, and I think it's super, super cool. And basically you are running a criminal syndicate, right? You're grifters, you're running cons. And the game mechanism is super simple. So basically each of these cards has an icon. It's either red, green, or blue, and they have an ability on them. And you're going to, and then there are jobs that you have to fulfill. So you can trade your cards in, like maybe 2 blue and 2 red to complete a job that requires 2 blue and 2 red cards. You turn those in and you complete the job, you get a reward and whatever. Or you can play a card individually for its ability, whether it's stealing money or exchanging cards or things like that. That's that, but really the game is in the hand management. Because what happens is that you have your hideout, and cards, when you use them, get placed into night 1 of the hideout, right? And then the next turn, then it slides over, and then you get to play a card into the night 1 again. So now you have 2 slides, and then it slides over, and then 3, and then it comes off the board and it can go back into your hand. So these cards are kind of cycling through your hand. So it really is hand and deck management. It's a little bit of deck building and a little bit of hand management. And the flow is really cool. The way you can see what's coming up, the way you have to make a choice between whether you're going to use a card to fulfill a job or a thing. It's very light, it's very quick, but I found it super engaging. I just really enjoyed that one.
That's cool.
Yeah, so Grifters from Indie Boards and
I
Cards.
want to play it. You brought it tonight. I'd like to try to get to it if possible.
Yeah.
What conventions will you be attending the rest of this year? They want to know.
Well, my last convention, big convention for the year, is going to be BGGCon
in
November. Yeah, one of my favorite con experiences every year.
It's mine too. I am. I'm going to BGGCon, and I'm going to a small convention in a couple weeks called the West Texas Tabletop Convention. It's in San Angelo, Texas. It's in between. It's you could drive to it from San Antonio, from Austin, from Dallas maybe. It's in there. So I'll be there. I'm being brought there as a guest, and then I'll be at BGGCon. That's it.
That's awesome. I look forward to seeing you at BGGCon.
What upcoming board game apps are you looking forward to? I'm assuming this is for you.
Yep. 7 Wonders. 7 Wonders. I want my 7 Wonders.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I've been opening boxes from Rico's production for like 3 years, and they keep saying coming soon, coming soon. What is going on?
They're doing it right. I respect that. I mean, I appreciate that. I mean, to be fair, like Pathfinder was over a year late, and I bemoaned that. And literally, like my top anticipated, I had to put it my top anticipated like 2 years in a row because it was so late. And it's an excellent app, so it was worth the wait. So 7 Wonders and Paperback by Tim Fowers.
Oh yeah,
that is is coming out quite soon.
Really?
Yeah.
Is he doing it like himself? Because he's like a one-man show. He does.
Yeah. No, I don't know how he's developing it, but it's coming out for iOS and Android, and it's getting close, and I'm super excited for that. But quite frankly, board game apps are apparently going to be a thing after the first 200, because there's a lot of great games being converted to apps and being announced, and so I'm kind of excited.
Have you played the Mansions of Madness thing?
I haven't.
No.
I haven't.
I played with it at GenCon, but I wasn't running the app. So.
Literally everybody I've talked to loves it. It's awesome.
Yeah. Hey. Hi. How's it going? Good. So we have some visitors here. What? You two, come behind us.
All right.
All right, we got some special guests. Come behind and get on the camera. Everybody, this is my parents.
Hey. Hello.
Neil and my mom Kathy, they live in Phoenix with me. We originally grew up in Boston, and they are in Seattle with us for one day before we go on a cruise. They've never been to Seattle before. They've never been to a gaming cafe before.
Right. You picked a good first one.
Yeah. So Dad, tell everybody, we always, yesterday we were on the plane, and we were playing Red 7, and there was a lady next to us who started talking about board games, and then you give them your card, and they say, Game Boy Geek, what's that? So everyone, it's the one question I get asked the most.
Right.
So tell everybody from your vantage point, why is my name the Game Boy Geek?
Well, when Dan was a small boy, probably as soon as he could learn to walk and talk, he always played games, especially with Kathy, his mother. When the other kids would go off to school, they'd be home alone, and he'd always come up, play this game, play this game. So we just nicknamed him the Game Boy. Even before Game Boy was really popular, so
it's before it was out.
Yeah, so he was the original Game Boy.
You know what? I've heard the story about how you got this name probably 5 or 6 times now. He tells it way better.
Well, he was the originator of the story.
Indeed. And well done.
All right, everybody. That's my parents. They just came to join us. They're going to play some games with us later. Let's see. Oh yeah, what is the 3 top board game apps of all time that everyone should have?
Oh,
That one's for you.
That's like asking somebody like what 3 games every gamer must own, and I think that's an unfair question, darn it, because I mean it really depends on what you like. I think some of my favorite ones are Galaxy Trucker, Lords of Waterdeep, Star Realms, Ticket to Ride, Splendor, Baseball Highlights 45. I mean, there's just, honestly, board game apps have come a long way. The last 2 years have been really formative for board game apps, and their quality's really increased. Tweet at me, and we'll talk a little bit about what games you like, and then I can definitely come up with some personal recommendations. But board game apps are amazing today, and they're just getting better and better. So, Patchwork, oh my gosh, the Patchwork app is amazing. There's just
I find myself not playing apps for games I like, because then I don't
Play
want to
'em out.
I play them out, and then I don't want to play the real games anymore. So I only play ones that I want to know if I might like the board game.
I think that just means I have more gaming fortitude than you because I don't play out games, so it's
Oh,
not a
man.
problem.
So people want to know what you do outside of work for both of us. I mean, outside of the board gaming company. They say thanks for all the content you create, and they want to know what you do. What do you do for your day job?
Well, I am in project management at a digital marketing agency.
That sounds boring.
It's so not boring. It's amazing. I work for a company, and other companies hire us to make really cool content that you see online. Like the one that some people know is last year there was this viral video about Robert Downey Jr. meeting with a little boy and presenting him with an Iron Man prosthetic arm. And the video got really popular online because, of course, it was an amazing story about how 3D printing is making prosthetic limbs affordable, much more affordable for families, especially for children who grow and they need to constantly resize up their prosthetics. And we made a video about that, and it really took off. And so, like, my company came up with the idea, and we, wrote how we kind of wanted it to flow, and we pulled the people together and made a film out
So
of
project management,
it. Yep.
Type A personality.
Yeah,
You tell
not that
people-
you know anything about that.
You tell people what to do.
So what do you
Tell
do,
them what
Mr. Type A personality? What do you do?
Mostly I'm an engineer for a small software company. Then we provide
So lots of
software,
zeros and ones.
lots of ones and zeros, and we provide software that helps other engineers analyze their data. But now I'm in tech.
And my job sounded boring?
But now I'm, so I used to I was doing engineering for them for a long time. Now I'm a technical marketing manager. So I help figure out how to market, where do our products need to be in a few years, and then help market it and bring sales up on the technical aspects of it.
So we do the same thing.
Yeah, I teach salespeople what the tech does.
Oh, well, salespeople need help with that. That's a good job.
Some people want to know we talked about games and backpacks. So
Yep.
what games are in the backpack right now? Let's see. Let me grab it.
Well, you kind of cheated.
What is that? Oh, because I took too many.
And a very fine person who I know on Twitter, and I got to meet at Dice Tower Con, is saying, hey, long live Octodice. I always feel a lot of pressure when I talk about games that I really like, and then somebody buys it, and then they don't like it, and then I feel awful. I'm like, I'm so sorry. And so I really like Octodice, and this guy's like, I bought Octodice on your recommendation. I'm like, oh, great, how do you like it? He's like, we're going to give it another try.
Oh, good.
Like, okay.
I gave that a not so favorable review.
I know. It's one of the few games you and I really disagreed
I know.
on. But I play it solo. It's so much fun solo. Maybe it's just because I'm lonelier for games than you are, and you have all your things.
So I want to know what's in the backpack. So this time I brought a box. Buzzword. I brought this box
You
because
really love that game?
this game's actually awesome. One of the reasons why we love this game, actually today we were playing it. We were driving from Portland to Seattle, and it's one of those games that you can pull out and you can play in the car as you're driving.
That's awesome.
So we love that. Plus, it's an old box. I didn't care if it got all beat up. But inside the box,
That was the box.
inside the box, we got tons of rules because I don't memorize all of them. We've got Beyond Baker Street, one of my favorite new co-op games that came out. We got Red 7. This is a good one. We got actually Buzzword, which we don't bring the whole game. We just bring the cards. Let's see what else we got. I've got Open Sesame, which is a memory game from Antoine Bauza.
Mm-hmm.
We got Sixes, a party game that will play up to, it's kind of like categories, but even better.
I haven't played it. I've seen it. I
it's
haven't
awesome.
played it.
My mom loves this game. Let's see, we got Why First, which is an awesome little filler. We have For Sale. What else is in here? We got Codenames. They're all in here. We got Ultimate Showdown. This is a party game that my review comes out next week, and I'm calling it the best party game that's come out in multiple years, and that it will be said in the same sentence as Wits and Wagers and time's up, and it's in the same sentence of those as to which party game will you bring with you.
Wow, that's pretty big praise.
It did for the apples to apples genre what Wits and Wagers did to the trivia genre, which is made it fun.
All right, I look forward to seeing the review.
That's coming out as we're on the cruise next week. So that's what's in the backpack.
So who didn't like this box of games, Dan?
Who didn't like it?
Yeah. I heard that somebody really didn't like this box.
The TSA guys. Every time I go through TSA with games, they always stop me and take stuff out. And this guy was looking through all the games and all the bits and pieces, and it was crazy.
Maybe he was hoping it was Seafall, and he was trying to find all the Seafall.
Yeah, people were tweeting stuff at me like, "Good thing you didn't bring Cash and Guns," or "Good thing you didn't bring Bomb Squad." Or,
yeah. Oh gosh, that would be poor choices on your part for sure.
Oh gosh. Okay, let's see what else we have here for questions. What is the Okay, so this is for me. What's the heaviest game that you really enjoy? Probably, I guess Power Grid's not super heavy, but that's heavy. Another one, probably Rockwell. Have you played Rockwell?
I haven't, but I've heard good things about it. Yeah.
It's like a 2.5 to 3 hour game that has a lot of moving parts, but it's a semi-cooperative economic game where you're going to the middle of the earth and you're drilling all different resources out and selling them.
Yeah.
It's pretty heavy and long, but
okay.
I like it, which is why it only comes out maybe once a year because it just takes forever to set up and play.
Yeah.
But it is really fun.
That's
what about
awesome.
you? What's the heaviest one you like? Because you and I are kind of the same. We like those sweet spot of an hour family level, but good.
Well, we are we align very closely in that area, but I do think I stray a little bit heavier than you in some areas. So I'm a big fan of a designer named Alban VR from France, and he designs very puzzly games that are a little bit heavier, a little bit thinkier. I like Small City, where you have Tetris-sized pieces and they all fit together, and you're melding the cities with all these rules, and it grows, and it's a fabulous game. But then I like Food Chain Magnate. And I think that's a really popular heavy game right now that people are aware of. So I like it. I'm terrible at this game. I play it better online, in person, when I can talk to people and things like that and kind of see things move. I tried to play it online, and literally all the people I was playing with, I had 350 points, and I had 12 points at the end of the game. But I had fun losing. So I enjoy it. I just am maybe not that good at it.
So I call you the Kickstarter queen. And you're
you're the only one.
you're a board game media mogul. It's definitely from.
Sure, we'll go for that.
Yeah, and so people have a question about what advice would you have for someone that's wanting to get into the review business or into the board game media business? What one piece of advice would you give them?
Make content. I think that just do it, and that I'm not trying to belittle anything, but I guarantee you that everybody that people have is kind of who are aware of board game content, they kind of have is on a first name basis, like Rodney or Tom or Joel or Rado today, or some guy named Dan. All these people started very low key, just loving games and wanting to talk about them and just wanting to do something for the community. And they picked up a camera or picked up a audio recorder and just did something. And that's what I would encourage. And it was the same thing for me. I think a lot of people know me because I produce content for the Dice Tower, which is the biggest board game content network. But people seem to think because I produce content for the Dice Tower that somehow I have, Tom's studio or things like that. And really, I have a laptop. I did invest in a good microphone because your audio content quality counts. So I have a laptop and a microphone. And that is it. Dan, we're filming right now, and he has this cute little webcam that sits on top of his laptop that theoretically will give us better quality pictures. I don't do that. I use the camera that's built into my laptop. That is how low key I am. And when I started, I didn't even use any fancy recording. I used whatever the Windows Movie Maker is embedded that comes free with Windows. That's what I use to edit my pieces. And I use something a little more advanced now because I wanted to do more fancy things or whatever, which I never have time to actually do the fancy things, so well. But I really think you should just try it. If you love gaming, if you want to try content, there's lots of resources on YouTube talking about how you can do this or how you can do that. But figure out what story you want to tell, figure out what kind of content you want to create, figure out what your voice is, figure out what you can contribute to the community, and then just give it a try, and take feedback and try to improve, and you'll be there. And I think that's what everybody who's had any measure of success on it has done.
Yeah.
No green screen?
I'd say, my dad goes, no green screen? No, not at first. You don't need a green screen. You look at this in two different ways. Part of me wants to say, if you're just doing it, just do it and have fun.
Yeah.
And see where it takes you. Because, you're probably just going to find yourself as you do that.
Okay.
If you're starting to do it and you're enjoying it, because people don't understand how much work it really is. It is a ton of work. Even just after you get done with editing, the managing the content, uploading it, tagging it, social media, website. It is a ton of work to produce content, and you might do a few of them and go, this is way too much work, I'm not enjoying this, and you'll be done, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. But if you're just having fun and you're testing it out, and you're enjoying it, and you don't mind spending the time, and you want to spend more time, at that point I would probably try to tell you to, number one, find out really what you want to do, what value do you bring, what are you doing differently from somebody else?
Yeah.
And really figure out what you need to do. And to do that, I was at the Leadership Summit last week, and we listened to the CEO of Boeing and Ford talk.
So
it was
some moderately successful people.
Yeah, they kind of know what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And an interesting thing is whenever you want to do something, do these three things. You're going to need to have these three things. You're going to need to have a captivating vision as to where you want to go. You're going to need to have a comprehensive strategy as to how to get there. And you're going to need to have relentless implementation. And if you have those three things, you can really do anything. Now, I'm not saying you need to have that before you turn the camera on for the first time. That's why I'm saying just play with it and have fun, see if it's something that you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, I know how to work a computer, I know how to work a camera, I can upload, this is cool. Yeah, I'm liking this.
Mm-hmm.
Then at that point, I would say, think about it hard as to what you want to do.
Because of those three things, you didn't say you need to have talent.
No.
Or inherent knowledge, right?
No.
You had to have a vision, a strategy, and
relentless.
being relentless. So yeah, that's definitely an anybody can do it kind of thing.
That's what I would say. All right, let's see. We're gonna be on for about 10 more minutes. Anybody played have you played 51st State?
I haven't yet. I've played a lot of Imperial Settlers, which I quite love, and I'm really looking forward to 51st State.
Yep. All right, well, it's been about 45 minutes. We're gonna wrap up here. Any last things? Any questions? Any last statements you want to make?
Oh no!
What is the next?
So eloquent.
What is the next game that you're getting that you're excited about?
What is the next game that I'm getting that I'm excited about? Like how I repeat the question back. Oh, it's Dan's birthday!
Right.
That's why we're here. So happy
Denise.
birthday!
Denise, come on camera. Hey everybody. This is my wife Denise. She just surprised me. She was supposed to be in Portland, but
she surprised him.
Oh yay!
Let it be known I can keep a secret.
Yeah, she surprised him.
So they're in Portland. They're gonna come back tomorrow to meet us at the ship, and they just showed up. And
that was perfect timing.
Yeah, because
that's like the grand finale. That's
the grand finale.
Please, you're the grand finale.
You know
of
what?
the Live Q&A.
I didn't ask you a question. It's over.
Okay, we're done. You're done. Yay!
All right, we're gonna end with that. That was Denise, and we're gonna go play some games.
Thanks, everybody.